My zodiac sign is Gemini, so I just wanted everybody to know that all 108 of my personalities have helped out with this video. Hope you like it. Bugchasers, did you know that there are actually men out there that are actually having unsafe sex with multiple partners to increase their chances of contracting AIDS? AIDS is the gift that keeps on giving. Since COVID-19 had arrived 2 years ago, it was man-made. It was made in a lab. Asians brought it here. It was created by the government to decrease the population. Most of us have been trying to stay safe from it. Some have seen loved ones die. We have heard of people trying to spread it, and some say its diagnosis is overblown by the media. But you will use your facial mask to stay as safe as you can. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, there was an epidemic. It was a 4-letter word that had killed so many people before it, called AIDS. Remember that? The worst year for AIDS was 1995, when Americans between the ages of 25 and 44, this was the age groups that were contracting it. It was man-made. It was made in a lab. Gay men brought it here. It came from Africa. A white racist man in America brought it to Africa to kill the Africans. It was made by the government to decrease the population. Most of us have been trying to stay away from that, stay safe from it. Some have seen loved ones die. We have heard of people intentionally spreading it, and some believe it wasn't bad, as the media claimed. But you take safer sex measures in your life to stay as safe as you can. Like COVID, it knows no race, age, or gender. Anyone is susceptible. You contract it through saliva, body fluids, vagina, anal, or oral sex, transfers of contaminated blood is how you can contract the virus. AIDS, acquired immune deficiency. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. This is the virus that causes AIDS. There is actually medicines prescribed by your doctor that helps AIDS patients stay healthier and live longer. The virus isn't even detected in the bloodstream. So AIDS may not be the death sentence it once was for some. Even though they say there's no cure for AIDS. Now, let's get back to the video you want to see. Bugchasers are actually people who want to get AIDS. Yes, there are actually people who welcome this in some gay male groups. It was actually said AIDS was the rite to passage. These men didn't feel complete in their homosexuality unless they contracted AIDS. Bugchasers, gift givers, has a large community among barebackers on the internet. Oh, you can find everything on the internet. The goal is to continue spreading HIV. In 2004, a study was done. About 79% were white and 70% lived in the U.S. Specific group was 1.1 who had HIV and 21.3% of the males that were seeking the virus. Now online, 72% of HIV positive men were looking to help pass the virus to 35% of negative men. Now, a lot of these people are online, and we do hear and see a lot of outrageous shit online. So either it's one of two things. They're either telling the truth or they're not. Now, there are tons of websites that cater to bug chasing. Here's a few quotes from an actual bug chaser. He also refers to himself as AIDS worshiper and death dick glorifier. His page consists of biohazard tattoos, PrEP pills in the toilet, and sickly looking men, close-up anal sex videos where it's more blood than lube. I haven't seen this, nor do I want to. This is a description of an article that I read, although this man has a Twitter account. It seems these bug-chasing men, the ones with the biohazard tattoos, it's become like a symbol to their cause. I guess that's what you would call it. He says how a friend of his boyfriend is in critical condition, like ICU status in the hospital, dying of AIDS. And some of his followers basically state, I'm going to use my own words, that they wouldn't mind being with him the way he currently is. Another man states his friend passed away a few hours ago of AIDS. He says the thought of being with a man with AIDS is still a turn-on to him. He says he will continue to have sex with men who are positive, but he will take better care of himself and use his PrEP pills. There are many different articles and scenarios of bug chasers and gift givers. Do you mind if I tell you a little story? It would mean a lot. Okay, picture it. Little Ferry, New Jersey, 1995. It's about Frank and Tina. Tina had been knowing Frank since 4th grade. Tina said she always knew that he was gay. Frank said he honestly didn't think he was gay until 4th grade. His mother remarried after his father left them for another family. They stayed in a 4-bedroom house with 1 bathroom. It was normal if his mom was showering and Frank would need to take a leak, no big deal. He'd come in, take one, wash his hands, and leave the bathroom. His stepfather would do the same thing. He remembers it well. His mother had left the house early to take his 2-year-old brother to the doctor, and he was showering, getting ready for the school bus, which he hated to have to take to school. His stepfather would sometimes drop him off, or his mom would, but they only had 1 car at this time, and she was on her way to the doctor's with his little brother. His stepfather came into the bathroom just as he was cutting the water off. He felt him standing there in the bathroom. He knew he was there. He was waiting for him to use the toilet or wash his hands or close the door. It felt like an eternity, but he would peek from behind the gray shower curtain. His stepfather was standing there, butt ass naked, with a knowing smirk. That's how Frank described him, a knowing smirk. He laughs with Tina when he tells the story now. He always talked of how hairy his stepfather was. He described his penis now as all right, but when he was 13, it was enormous. His stepfather raped him over the bathroom sink. Tina remembered him tearing up, talking about it. That's when he started his bad smoking habit. I mean, he would pick up butts off the street, take butts out of ashtrays in restaurants, and he'd smoke it. This would go on between Frank and his stepfather for 6 years, but Frank said he did it willingly. His stepfather would buy him pot, cigarettes, and even fixed a 1989 Volkswagen and gave it to him on graduation day. His mother didn't come, only his stepfather and his little brother. His mother had put him out the house when she caught her son giving her husband of 3 years oral in the garage. Tina and Frank laughs about this all the time. Now the pair are both 28. Tina is 3 months older than Frank, but they have been very best friends for a long time. They go to the mall together, concerts together. They stay on the phone for hours. The two kissed once when they were 15, but it was pretty gross on both ends, and they never spoke about it again. Tina had always been a little chubby during high school, but after graduation, her weight ballooned. She was 5'6" and 244 pounds. She looked a little like Ricki Lake, but some of you are probably too young to know who she is. Frank thinks her self-esteem was low because of her weight, and that's why she ended up marrying a man 18 years older than her. That was Alex. He was 46 and he owned the tire shop. Frankie had went there to buy cheap tires one day and Tina was with him. Tina and Alexander, they would actually start to hook up even though he was married. Tina and Frank would call him Grandpa behind his back. I mean, he was 46. He wasn't even Tina's first. Tina's first was her own first cousin. She did it on a dare. By now she had 2 small children, and Frank loved to say he was Uncle Frankie. Frank grew into himself after graduation, or should I say, after his mother put him out. He wore pink Converse. He had every color, but he wore the pink ones until little tiny holes was on them. He spiked his hair with blue tips, and he had got a tattoo on his pelvis of a Care Bear holding a knife. Yeah, I know, the 90s was really scary times. He stayed with his maternal grandmother, who forced him to go to church every Sunday and always brought up the bathroom incident when she was drunk. Now Frankie looked like a young Simon Le Bon. Still too young to know, huh? He was in Job Corps for a while, and when he was done, or should I say when he was thrown out for smoking weed, the best friend pair both started working at Dairy Queen, and he would get a studio apartment in Little Ferry. He was so glad he left his grandmother. By this time, say it out loud, he was gay and proud. Tina was a little jealous of this. The stories he would tell, I mean, he had a full social life. She actually had quit her job, well, she had to tend to her children. It was basically dirty diapers, breastfeeding, cooking, laundry, all day long for her. He was out all night at the gay clubs, tons of numbers falling out of his pockets, and he had cash. I mean, Dairy Queen was a far cry from the money he got now. He had all his money tucked in an F initial gold-plated money clip. Tina even saw it. One of his boyfriends had brought him a $450 aviator jacket. Tina loved hearing his tall tales, even his sex life. I mean, by now, it was the most exciting thing going on in her life. They would sit on the porch for hours. Tina's husband wasn't too fond of him. He called him Dancer. Frank could vogue his ass off. Big Madonna fan. I don't know how it started out, but Tina and Frank, departing from their phone calls, or even when they were together, they would say, "I love you." They did. They had been through so much together. December of 1995, 2 days after Christmas, Tina had left about 14 messages on his answering machine. And she paged him 911. I mean, it was an emergency. Tina was drunk, and it was a little after 2:30 a.m. She told Frank to come over when he finally called. No, Alexander, he was gone. Alexander was gone a lot. When Frank arrived at Tina's, he had to play catch up. The Jolly Ranchers were already in the Zima, and the two ended up getting intoxicated. So intoxicated. Tina confessed what Frankie already knew. Alexander had been cheating. Quote, "Alex is a pig. Get rid of him," unquote. Frank said that to her, but way more drunker. Easier said than done. I mean, Alex had the money, the house, the car. Her and her kids would suffer. Alex would tell Tina to take the kids. He said that they needed their mother. Quote, "Lose a little weight, girl. Show him what he has at home. You are too sexy for your shirt," unquote, said Frank. They both laughed. Frank could always make Tina feel a little bit better. Then he stopped smiling. The record was skipping. Frankie had something important to say. He would look at Tina and then put his head down and look back up. "I've been chasing the bug." "What bug?" Tina would say. "There are these parties. All the gay boys and men go. It may be 9 to 15 men there." Tina listened intently. "Someone is invited and he has AIDS. No one knows who he is. We have couple or group sex. Bear." Tina interrupted. "Why?" He continued. "It's exciting, a rush. It's better than speed. It's intense. Tina, I think I have AIDS."